This is the condensed prologue for my novel I'm working on, Orchard Road. I've long known I have the capacity for murder. This I discovered 48 years ago while living in Singapore, a place I associate with the tropics, gin and tonics, and desperation. Being a respected clinical psychologist in practice for over 35 years now is not something I advertise, not something anyone in my current life knows about me. Singapore was such a dark time in my life, I pushed many memories back into the recesses of my mind. Instead, I choose to remember those things beautiful and unique to Singapore, the colorful exotic orchids, the many varieties of delicious food, the monkeys living in the dense green jungle behind my flat. They begged for food, and I fed them apples. I remembered the gentleness of their fingers as they took the slices from my hand. There are more things I don't remember than those I do. Those memories too painful, traumatic, and shameful to bear, I pushed into my unconscious mind. There they reside like dark shadows, until something causes them to resurface, a trigger of some kind. And then I have to watch out, because, like most of us with PTSD, we never know what might happen. I was blindsided by a trigger one recent summer morning. I'd taken the L to Chicago from where I live in Evanston. After exiting at Chicago and State, I walked to my office building at McClurg Court. As I crossed the lobby, George, who mans the front desk, called out to me, "Hey, Dr. P, you've got mail." "Thanks, George. How are you today?" "No complaints," he said with a grin. "Life is good. I don't need you yet." I laughed and walked to the elevators. After setting my purse and mail on my desk, I gazed out the windows at Lake Michigan, sparkling 23 stories below. In all my years living in the Chicago area, I've never tired of seeing the magnificent lake. When my patient arrived, we settled in for her session. It was then I noticed I'd left my purse and mail heaped on the desk. "Excuse me a moment," I said. "Let me clear off this clutter." I put my purse in the file drawer, and as I slid the mail into the drawer, I saw the postcard. On the front was a vintage picture of the Singapore harbor, the Merlion fountain glistening in the tropical sun, an arc of water shooting from its mouth. I turned the card over. There was a colorful Singapore stamp above where it was addressed to Dr. Prudence Copeland. In the message area were the words, "Have I found you?" There was no signature, just a long string of numbers. Adrenaline flooded my body and my heart raced. "Dr. P, are you okay?" My patient stared at me with concern. "Oh, sorry." Flustered, I tossed the postcard into the drawer. "Yes, I'm fine." The next several hours were torture as I fought panic while trying to pay attention to my patients. Who is it from? No one in Singapore knew my maiden name is Copeland. How did they find me in Chicago? What else do they know? During my break, I examined the postcard for clues. In the top left-hand corner, the description read, "Merlion, Singapore Harbor, 1972, the year I arrived in Singapore." I studied the numbers and realized it was a phone number. But whose phone number? Because I didn't know, I dared not call. At home that night, I paced the floor, drank too much wine. For the first time in many years, I found myself touching the small gold cross at my neck and murmuring prayers. Please, please, let it be okay. Sleep was restless, the night filled with sounds startling me awake. Sounds like those in the jungle. Suddenly, while staring at the ceiling, a flash of memory came to me. Walking uphill on a narrow 2-lane road, sunlight filtered through thick, vine-choked trees and palm fronds, sweat-drenched from the exertion and tropical heat, the deafening hum of insects. Damn, Pad. I look at Wanda walking beside me, curly hair, a red halo around her face, shiny with sweat. She points to where elephant plants line the black asphalt. Beneath one giant green leaf lies a darkly soiled sanitary napkin crawling with enormous black ants. I sat up with a gasp and replayed the images. For the first time in almost 50 years, I remembered that day on the hill. I remembered Wanda, and I remembered Prudence.